We've beat all the Easter eggs from World at War to Black Ops 3 in 24 hours. We've beat all the Infinite Warfare Easter eggs in 8 hours. And now, after weeks of grinding and a newly found pain, I bring you Can You Beat Every Advanced Warfare Easter Egg in 4 hours. That's right boys, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you might have noticed I've been streaming a good bit of Advanced Warfare recently, and it was all in preparation to make this one video. And now, Advanced Warfare Zombies is one of the most disliked zombie modes in the entire series, so obviously I couldn't go into this alone. I needed to find the perfect squad to make this video. You know what, let me do some detective work to figure out who is the perfect fit for this job. Alright, let's go ahead and start looking at some of these files, okay? Let's see who we've got here. Tyler the Tomato, always a solid pick. I mean, he's quick to learn the Easter eggs, dedicated, and somehow he knows all the steps to attacking the radioactive thing. I would be silly to not have him on the team. Alright, who else we got here? PeacefullZombies? No, he's gone quiet as of recent times. Mr. GGMan, professional zombie trainer, a very useful skill. Not the best player, but he has heart, and you know what? I like that. Now for a third. I mean, we always have Milk, but he lives in the Dark Ether and somehow can't go under 400 ping. G.Ripper. I haven't heard that name since the 24-hour Easter egg video. He was only there for one map, but he showed a lot of potential. I'm sure he's going to have the skills necessary to complete this challenge. And then finalizing the team, there's me. I mean, I don't really offer a whole lot to the table, but as the one carrying out this operation, I must be there to ensure it all goes well. Yeah, you know what? This team will do nicely, alright? Let me make some calls and we'll get the team together. And now boys, with our team assembled, we got to work on our first out of 4 maps, Outbreak. We loaded into our first map, Outbreak, and got straight to work on the Easter egg. The first step to this Easter egg was actually right in the spawn room, with us just needing to pick up this black box behind this pile of rubble. We then had to do what you do with any other map and just get some points and get to work on opening the map until we reach this computer where we can place the black box down, allowing us to start collecting the key cards. And now collecting these key cards is essentially the main part of this Easter egg. We essentially need to collect 4 key cards for each of our characters so we can gain authorization for a helicopter to come pick us up. But now before we could start collecting these key cards, we needed to get our exosuits. This is our main piece of equipment in this game, as without it, it becomes borderline impossible to get away from the zombies as they'll leap towards you in order to clap your cheeks. But after we got the exosuits, we got to work on getting the key cards. Now throughout all of my Easter egg videos, the steps I hate most are the RNG steps. And now that leads us onto our first key card, this being the Lilith key card. To get this key card, you need to obtain the EM1 out of the 3D printer. I can't call it the 3D printer, I'm just going to call it the box from now on. And then once you have the EM1, you need to spin the box again and then shoot it with the EM1 to get the card. And now this sounds easy enough, and to be honest with you it is, but our box luck usually isn't the best. So we're most likely going to have to put this one as a side project while we get the other cards. Well, unless this happens. No way! Let's fucking go, bro. 2-3. I feel like every time I do these Easter egg videos, I always say it's going to take a while to get the gun we need out of the box. And then every single time, we've pretty much gotten them instantaneously. But yeah, we got super lucky with our box luck in this game, and while I wasn't looking, Tyler went ahead and got the key card. The next key card we were going to go for was Oz's key card. Now to start this, you need to shoot this lever underneath this container thing. I don't really know. And then once it disappears, all players in the game must buy Exo Slam, and then once you all have it, you need to go back to the container thing and Exo Slam it at the same time. And now this step is really easy with 1 or 2 players. Having all 4 of us trying to slam this container at the same time, we just ended up bumping into each other whenever we tried to slam. Or the most common issue we had was that we kept hitting this beam in the roof. This then used our slam, which meant that we had to wait a minute for it to recharge before we could try it again. And now we tried this for ages to get this to work, but we were flying through the round, so we actually put this one on the back burner so we can get to work on another card. This was because the card we were going for next required us to be on a specific round, which was now here. The key card we went for instead was Khan's key card. And now for this one, you need to be on an infection round to actually get this key card. To get this card, every player needed to get infected, and then we had to press one of the 4 code pads in this area. And then once we did that, we'd need to return back to the reception area where Khan's key card would now be available to pick up. And now as long as everyone on the team knows which code pad they need to go for, this is actually one of the easiest key cards to get in the game. And as you guys can see, we managed to get it done first try, which then put our key card count up to 2. We managed to save a zombie at the end of this round, so we went back trying to get Oz's key card to no luck, as we just couldn't complete it before the zombie would bleed out. And on the topic of zombies bleeding out, the bleed out time for the zombies in this game is incredibly short, and this becomes a massive inconvenience later on in this video, as some steps require us to look in multiple locations all around the map for what we need, and when the zombie keeps bleeding out, it can make easy steps more difficult. Now, while we were waiting for the round to transition to the next round, I actually suggested to Tyler that we try and get our next key card, which was Decker's key card. For this key card, we both need to enter a trash chute at the same time, which will put us in the incinerator room. It's while we are in this room that we need to shoot the floor with everything we have while I spam F for a chance to pick up the key card. And now I say chance because this can usually take a good good few attempts, but we luckily managed to get this on our first try, which was a massive time save. Oh, I got it. This meant by the 23-minute mark, we had already gotten 3 out of the 4 keycards we needed to move on to this next step. And now we're no speedrunners, but this was currently looking to be a really good time. And then this meant that the last keycard we needed to get was Oz's. If we wanted a chance of getting this done in a decent time, we needed to get this done sooner rather than later. So we all met back up at this container thingy, and this is what happened. Yes, go, please. Right here. Oh my god, thank the Lord. That's right, we finally managed to get Oz's keycard 25 minutes into the run. Even comparing this to some of our practice runs, this was going really well. We then needed to make our way back to the computer, and after doing so, it said we needed a higher authorization level. And now you'll start noticing that when we kill zombies, they start dropping keycards, and once we pick them up, it will increase our authorization level in the bottom left. And now to move on to the next step of the Easter egg, we all needed to get the number in the bottom left to 49. So we got to grinding, and we all worked on getting our keycards to 49. And now we managed to get this done by the 37-minute mark, and to be honest, we were already nearly done with the Easter egg. After we did this, we returned back to the computer where we got told we still didn't have a high enough authorization level. So what we needed to do was we needed to get it up to 50. So to do this, we need to go to a fingerprint scanner around the map and interact with it to get our 50th keycard. And now the 4 locations for the fingerprint scanner will always be the same, but it depends on what character you're playing as to which one you need to go to. So if you were playing as Khan, you need to go to the fingerprint scanner across from the MP11. For Lilith, it was this one near the Exo Reload. For Oz, it's in the stairway near Exo Health. And then for Decker, which is the character I was playing as, it's in this stairwell in the Exo Suit room. We all got to our fingerprint scanners, and after we got our 50th keycard, this finally meant we had a high enough authorization level to call in the helicopter. To finish this Easter egg up, we just had to interact with the computer again, and then we had to make our way to the Exo Suits and interact with them at the same time. And then for some reason, interacting with the Exo Suits calls in the helicopter. I don't really know. And now boys, for a bit of a spoiler, you don't actually get rescued on this map, or at least for the ending we went for. When we went outside to meet up with the helicopter, a drop came down from the sky and hit the helicopter, blowing it up. And now, since doing this means there's no ending, all the runs on Zombie World Records end it as soon as the helicopter goes away, and that's what we counted as a completion to this Easter egg. So on that note, we had actually finished the Outbreak Easter egg in 39 minutes, which was actually really good. If we keep up with this pace, under 4 hours should be no issue at all. Either way, we wasted no time and we went straight on to our next map. Our next map was the one we were dreading the most, this being Infection. Now, if you've been blessed to never touch this map, then consider yourself lucky, as it is known as one of the worst maps in Call of Duty Zombies history. Either way, we started off Infection like most of these maps, where we needed to get the exosuit first. Once we had opened up into the sewers, we grabbed that exosuit and then made our way back up to the spawn room, and then you'll notice that there's a golden pan on the rafters here, and we need to jump up to pick it up. And now you might think the Easter egg has just started, but this is where all of the fun gets sucked away, as we now had to find 4 valves in the sewers and turn them. Now, this doesn't seem that bad. I mean, come on, other Easter eggs have had far worse steps. Well, you then realize how dark the sewers really are, making the locations really hard to see. Oh, and did I mention there's 25 valve locations? This step is easy, but it's just annoying, and to top it off, the valves can spawn low down to the ground in dark corners or literally on the roof. Yeah, this was just an overall annoying step, and it took us a hot minute to find all the valves, but after 52 minutes, we found the last valve. Oh, that is actually such a dumb spot. After turning all 4 valves, a new secret room will open up in the sewers, which is this ritual type room where we need to go and place the pan we got from the spawn room on this pedestal, which will make it go into the ground. We then needed to get kills over the grates on the floor to fill it up with blood, which will then make the pedestal come back up, allowing us to pick up the pan again. Now, I'll be honest, do I know why we're doing this? No. So I don't really know the significance of doing this, but something you'll come to realize in this video is that nothing in Advanced Warfare makes sense, and the sooner you understand that, the sooner you'll accept completing these annoying steps. Anyways, once we had enough kills, we picked up the pan and we took it back to Burger Town, where we now needed to place it on this cooker. Once we did this, it triggers the next step, and now if you thought the valve step was bad, this next step makes that look like the Doris Easter egg. Once you place the pan down, chunks of meat will now spawn around the map, and you need to find 4 pieces of meat and place it in the pan. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, there's actually 4 areas where they can spawn, these being Burger Town, Value Voltage, Atlas Command, and the sewers. So there's 1 chunk of meat in each location. Now here's the part that sucks. Only 1 meat can spawn at a time, and it's random between these locations. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. Well, there's actually 37 meat locations total you need to check. Seriously, who made this step? I genuinely need to see who made this Easter egg so I can check that they no longer work at Sledgehammer Games. This step is a nightmare nightmare, but with 4 of us using this guide as a reference, one by one we managed to find all the meat and we moved on to the next step. Now, the next step requires us to get the wonder weapon of the map called the Magnetron, and this allows us to cook the burger. Yes, that is the wonder weapon's entire use. And now, this was another EM1 case in Outbreak, as it could have taken us forever to get this wonder weapon. However, as you might have already spotted, I managed to get it just before we found the final meat. Oh, I got Magnetron! I got fucking Magnetron! So this allowed us to waste no time, and I got to cook in the burger. All you had to do was shoot it until you hear a ding. And then once you've heard that, you're on to the next step. And now, as written exactly as we put it in our shared Google document, you then need to kill verbally abused minimum wage workers for burger buns. And now this actually took us quite a while, and we might be mistaken about this, but it seemed like you could only find the verbally abused minimum wage workers in the Burger Town area, and this leads us right into our next feature of the map that absolutely sucks. And now, if you know anything about Infection, you'll know that they have survivor rounds. Essentially, every few rounds a survivor will need escort into a helicopter, and if done correctly, you'll receive a weapon upgrade. And if you fail, an area on the map will be blocked off for a round. And now, although this sounds like a pain in the ass, as long as we don't fail the survivor rounds, we don't have to worry about places being blocked off, right? Well, no, as sometimes the game is just like, you know what, you don't get to be in this area anymore, and now did you do anything wrong? Nope, we just feel like screwing you over, and that is exactly what happened multiple times at the Burger Town location while we were trying to get the burger bun. And now this meant we had to go through rounds trying to unblock these areas, and overall making the run slower for no reason. Again, going back to what I said earlier, I need to find out who made this feature and ensure they are no longer in the gaming industry. Anyways, enough ranting about this dogshit map. 1 hour and 18 minutes into the challenge, we finally got the burger bun. Oh, I got it! I finally got the burger bun. This meant we could now go make the burger and be on to the next step. After we constructed the burger, we picked it up and we got infected. I wonder why. But we basically had to go to the cleansing area and disinfect ourselves in order to disinfect the burger. And after I did this, I returned back to Bubby, Burger Town's mascot, and I fed him the burger. After this, Bubby required a new battery, so we needed to go to Atlas Command and have Tyler interact with his computer here, and after he did that, a compartment will open with a battery inside. And then after I grabbed it, you might be thinking, well, we just got to take this back to Bubby. Well, no, don't be silly, alright? We now have to take it to value voltage so we can charge it up. And now, what you're basically meant to do is defend this battery from being hit while it charges, but Matt and Grim were babysitting the zombies, so me and Tyler just waited here until it was completed. After it was fully charged, we then returned back to Bubby and gave him the new battery, and in return he gave us a key. This key is used to enter the big burger in Burger Town, and inside this big burger is a massive computer. And then after interacting with the computer, we got told our access was denied, and in order to gain access, we would need the handprint of the person with the access. And now, conveniently, the person who did have access died to the alligators in the sewer, so obviously if we killed the alligator, we would receive the arm, of course. So we went to the sewer and prepared to kill the alligator. I called in the trap, and me and Tyler, we prepared ourselves for the fight ahead.
Oh, Matt just killed him.
I mean, all that works too. We picked up the arm and returned to the burger in order to gain access to the missiles that were in the burger. After interacting with the computer again, we waited for the missiles to go off and entered back into the burger to pick up the tablet. And then finally, after giving the tablet to Bubby, he got a little bit angry and started clapping the zombies, but other than that, we had completed the infection Easter egg. And now, before we move on to the next map, I just have two things I need to say. One is that I can now confirm that this is probably one of the worst maps in Call of Duty Zombies history, and the Easter egg is absolute trash. Every second of this was just painful, and the thought of just being off this map fills me with joy. And secondly, if you're familiar with this map, there is actually an ending cutscene, but you don't get it for completing the Easter egg. Instead, you get it for rescuing 20 survivors, and now I'll be honest, we're not doing this. You can comment saying it invalidates our run, but rescuing 20 survivors would have just taken far too long, and it's not really a main quest. So personally, we didn't count it. Anyways, final thoughts on Infection. We actually managed to get this Easter egg done relatively quick, only taking us 45 minutes. This put us on great pace, as it meant we only had 2 maps left with over 2 hours 30 minutes to spare. So we were pretty confident in our abilities to complete this under 4 hours. We just needed to keep up the same pace as the last 2 maps. And now again, without wasting any more time, we immediately jumped on to our next map. The next map we had to tackle was Carrier, and now this is actually one of the more popular Exo Zombie maps, and it's clear to see why. I mean, just look at its competition. And now, during our practice for this video, we actually struggled quite a bit on this Easter egg and only managed to complete it once before recording this. But now we've been learning the art of the Exo, and we're feeling quite confident in getting this Easter egg complete. Like the other 2 maps, our first objective was to open the map and get our hands on the Exo suit. On my way to grabbing it, I also got the teleport grenade since we needed it for the first step of the Easter egg. Once we reached the Exo suits, I went over to the trap in the same area and I activated it. For this step, we need to throw a teleport grenade into the same room the trap comes out of and activate the generator that's inside the room. Doing this activates two essential things we need to complete this Easter egg: the weapon disposal machine and the advanced plinko machine. I'll start with explaining the weapon disposal machine first, since this is something that we use throughout multiple steps of the Easter egg. Essentially, when you give this hand a weapon, you can either receive credits or different items that are used within the Easter egg. From what I know, the second weapon you deposit will always give you the vodka bottle, which is needed for later on, but what we're looking for right now is 3 parts to a fishing rod. This is so we can, believe it or not, go fishing, which I'll go into more detail later when we actually need it. So yeah, while we do that, we can start on the real step 1, this being the plinko step. I was in charge of this step since I've had the most amount of experience doing it in our practice runs. Essentially, the way this works is that once you've thrown a teleport grenade into the plinko machine, grenades will start rotating in the top left of the plinko machine. You need to time throwing normal grenades into the plinko machine to input that grenade. And now you need to do this in 3 different orders so that the lights on the right are then turned on. It's a little bit hard to explain, but essentially for the first light, you need to hit a distraction grenade and then a normal frag grenade. For the second light, you'll need to hit an explosive grenade, a distraction grenade, another explosive grenade, and a normal grenade. And then for the third and final light, you need to do this order: explosive grenade, nano grenade, another explosive grenade, a distraction grenade, another explosive grenade, and then a normal frag grenade. And now once you've turned on all 3 lights, this step will be complete. Now this step is not the easiest and can actually take a few rounds to complete, as every time you throw a grenade into the plinko machine, it becomes harder and harder to throw the grenades in. And now this can result in a lot of rounds passing in order to reset the pattern, or a lot of points being spent in order to buy back contact grenades. But either way, we managed to turn on all the lights by 1 hour and 50 minutes into this challenge. After we completed this, we picked up the tablet that come out of the plinko machine and we gave it to the vault just above us. And now for this next step, we need to go back to our trusty friend, the weapon disposal machine, where if you remember, I said it will always give us a vodka bottle for the second weapon. This next step requires us to get drunk, and then we need to go to the cargo bay, where if we interact with this keypad, lasers will appear on the floor, and we need to make our way back to the hangar so we can pick up another tablet, all while avoiding lasers. Now, I was in charge of doing this as I simply needed the content, and now this step can actually prove to be quite difficult as you are limited on your movement when drunk, and it sways you back and forth, but luckily all our practice came in huge as we were now familiar with the best route and how to navigate while drunk. So I made my way through the cargo bay and into the moon pool, where I thought for the longest time you had to make this jump here to go to the hangar, but it turns out you can actually just go around the whole part, making it super easy. And that's exactly what I did. I made my way through the moon pool and picked up the tablet right in front of the teleporter. So far, this attempt was going really well. For this next step, we need to repair a teleporter, and now to do this, we need to kill teleporting zombies that spawn in, and once you kill these zombies, they will drop teleporting shards. We then need to pick up these shards and take them back to the broken teleporter so that we can repair it. Now, this step wouldn't be too bad if it was like 5 or 10 shards, but it's not. It's about 20 shards to repair this teleporter. But at this point, I wasn't even surprised with the steps in Advanced Warfare, so we just got to repairing it. I should also mention that throughout the last few steps, we've been making sure to give the weapon disposal guy our weapons in order to get the parts for the fishing rod. And by this point, we had it built and were ready to get fishing. We needed to get fishing so that we could fish up a shovel, and now this was needed for the next step. And now the chances are pretty rare to get this, so it might be a while until we get it.
Oh my god, yo, dude, who is this guy with the look?
So yeah, this was actually really lucky, as it meant we didn't have to wait ages to get it once we had built the teleporter. Anyways, we all got back to fixing the teleport and we were doing pretty well, and our luck seemed to be going our way for once. And now I've seen this before. When things seem to be going our way, something bad is on the horizon.
Wait, what happened to my shovel? Oh, I picked up the fucking core pieces. Oh, dude, why is this game like this?
Well, there it was. You probably just heard the pain in my voice, but essentially what happened is that I picked up a teleporter piece, and because you can't hold more than one item in this game, it replaced the shovel with the teleporter piece. It wasn't the end of the world, but it was just still a pain in the ass. Either way, 2 hours and 7 minutes into this run, we now had the teleporter up and running. Now, all we had to do was just get the shovel back, and luckily it only took us about 3 minutes of using the fishing rod in order for me to get it back, so we were back on track for this Easter egg. After using the teleporter, it took me to this island, and now for this step, you're basically trying to dig up this case that holds the next tablet. Now, this definitely took longer than it should have, because for some reason, I just could not find the tablet. But don't worry lads, after about 4 or 5 attempts, we managed to get that tablet and deposit it into the vault. We were now coming up to the last few steps of the Easter egg, and now our next step required us to interact with a locker in the hangar. Once we did interact with the Captain DJ locker, 2 drones will appear around the map, and we need to destroy the one that has nothing in it. After we destroy it, that should drop a lever, and now we need to use that for the next step. Now, we didn't realize it at first, but we just could not find the drones around the map. We searched everywhere, but we just could not find them. We went to the next round, and we still couldn't find it, so we went to another round, and we we still couldn't find it then. This was proving to be a massive time loss, so after about 3 rounds I looked it up to see what the issue was. And now it turns out that for some reason you have to wait up to 3 to 5 rounds for the drone to even spawn in. So all the time we wasted trying to search for these drones was for nothing. But either way, on round 22, Tyler managed to find the drones, and after we destroyed it, we picked up the lever and was on to the next step.
Oh, I found it. I got it.
Oh my god, yes.
Moonpool.
Get his ass. Oh, thank God, dude.
We then took the lever and placed it in the moon pool so that we could open up a floor and lower a cage into the water below. We then needed to get kills on the squares on the floor, which puts blood into the water, and after getting enough kills, you'll notice a shark now appears in the water below. Once we saw the shark, we pulled the lever and we lowered the cage into the water, and after I jumped into the cage, the shark attacked the cage. Now, what you're meant to do is you're meant to interact with the shark in order to get the captain's eye, but I messes up the first time, as on PC when you enter the water, your mouse sensitivity drops to what feels like 0.1. But don't worry, on our second attempt we got the eye and we went back to the locker to get the final tablet. After taking the tablet to the vault, we were now onto the final step. For this, we simply needed to obtain C4 and place it on the vault. And now you might be thinking, how do we get the C4? Well, we need to go back to our trusty old friend, the weapon disposal machine guy, and give him more weapons until we were given the C4. Now, with this being the last step, we just gave him whatever we had. So I gave him the wonder weapon, the map, and I got
200 credits for that. Let's go, dude.
That's right, an absolute insane 200 credits. Right after me, Tyler gave him an MP11 and got credits, and then Matt, our hero, gave him a weapon and he got the C4.
Oh, did he give you the C4, Matt?
Oh yeah. Yep. I got it.
Okay.
Use that on the vault.
Use it on the vault quick and the game can be over. Matt, literally here.
Yep.
Oh my god, let's go.
Let's go.
And just like that, we finished the carrier Easter egg in 1 hour and 2 minutes. This was our fastest time yet, even when looking back at our practice attempts. This meant that we were left with 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete the final map, and we were feeling confident, but at the same time a little bit nervous. Also, just before we move on to our final map, I just need to share this banger voice line from the main man Decker.
It's about to become one big tax write-off.
Who pays tax?
Who pays taxes? Come on now.
I mean, so true, Decker. Who really pays taxes? Anyways, after we watched that cutscene, we prepared for our final map. We were now onto our final Advanced Warfare zombie map, Descent, and now this is easily going to be the longest, but we had about 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete it. However, I have a confession, alright, I have to admit to something. If we were to complete this in this challenge, this would be the first time we've beaten this Easter egg. Yeah, we had not completed this Easter egg in any of our practice runs, but have gotten close, so we were banking on completing this first try in order to get this under 4 hours. Also, something you might notice going to this map is that it's just me and Tyler. Grim and Matt, they had to go to bed as it was past their bedtime. If they don't get their beauty sleep, they will get all cranky for work in the morning. But in all seriousness, they had to go for this map, and to be fair, it's understandable as this whole video was recorded just out of the blue. We simply just managed to get all of us on at the same time, so we were just like, you know what, we'll just record it now. But yeah, this worked in our favor as me and Tyler have been putting in a shift learning this Easter egg, and out of the 4 of us, we were the most familiar with the steps. So like the other 3 maps, the first thing we did was open up the map towards the exosuits, and once we obtained it, we were now onto our first step. For this, we need to open up the tidal generator room, and we had to find 3 valves located on the walls, and we need to shoot these valves until the light on top of it begins to glow. After we shot all 3 valves, a secret door opens up in the same area, and we need to interact with the computer twice in order to move on to the next step. The next step was that we needed to decompress this airlock in the lounge area. This is pretty simple as Tyler just held the last guy, and I sat here for 50 seconds holding F, and now it did get a bit squeaky at the end here, but I just held it out and we managed to complete that step easy enough. We then needed to get a Goliath suit, and now this only spawns later on into the rounds, and since we were only on round 5, this meant that we had a while until we could continue on with this Easter egg. So we used this time to set up and get ready for the battle with Oz later on down the line. Oz also teleported us to his arena so he can taunt us before we got teleported back to the main map. Anyways, finally 2 hours and 47 minutes into this challenge, a Goliath suit finally spawned into the map, and after I entered it, we finally moved on to the next step. For this step, we needed to go to the decompressed airlock so we can go into the water. Once we were outside, we needed to make our way over to this button, and after we press it, it begins the challenges. After passing around, the first challenge began, this being the drone challenge. And now for this challenge, 5 drones will appear around the map, and it's our job to destroy them all before the round ends. This can actually be a bit tricky if you don't have the right firepower for it, as they are absolute bullet sponges, and if you take too long, they will just fly out of the map. But as mentioned, we did get settled before this, and I got lucky enough to get the M1 irons, and Tyler got the cell-free cauterizer, which are great for taking out these drones. So by the 2 hours and 52 minute mark, we had taken out all the drones and were done with this step. We were now onto, without a doubt, the worst step in this entire Easter egg. Now, surprisingly, something I've been yet to rant about in Advanced Warfare Zombies is the EMZs. If you couldn't figure out what they do, they essentially disable your exosuit for 5 seconds, and with how ruthless the zombies are in this game, this can be a run ender. And this has been the case in the past, so with all this information, you'd want to stay far away from these guys, right? Well, let me tell you about this next step, as it requires you to stand near this generator in the exo room and let them hit you in order to power the generator. And now you might think this isn't so bad, but it literally requires about 20 EMZs in order to fill it. Oh, I'm actually getting PTSD just thinking about it. So if you couldn't tell, this step has been a pain for us in the past, so we formed our own strategy, which if for some reason you wanted to go play this godforsaken map, you could use in your own game. Up to this point in our game, we've made sure to keep this door here closed. This makes it so that the zombies will pretty much only come from in front of us. Now, there is a vent that the zombies might come out of, but from our experience, they barely ever did. But as long as you have one person keeping an eye on the vent to make sure that no zombies come out of it, you should be alright. And now that the zombies were only coming from one spot, we were able to take out the normal zombies while leaving the EMZs. And now don't get me wrong, this tactic didn't just make this step easy all of a sudden, but it did make it more manageable. And a blessing to this step was the dog rounds, as they were pretty much just free charges. Now, as I mentioned previously, at some point we were going to have a mini boss with Oz, and that's exactly what happened during this step. And now I won't spend too long on this little mini boss fight, as it is probably the most boring thing I have ever seen in a Call of Duty Zombies map. But essentially, Oz will hide behind these glass windows, and when they open up, we need to shoot them until the room explodes. And then once we do this 4 times, the mini boss fight is over. And now the problem with this whole mini boss fight is that you have to do it every single game. So after all of our practices, we were just sick of having to do this over and over. I'm not even joking. The best part of us was hearing Oz say the same 3 lines over and over again. These being,
I fucking hate the Atlas Corporation.
"Play dead for real," and
Oops, looks like I electrified the floor.
just the most banger of lines coming from Oz. We finished this mini boss fight around 3 hours into the challenge, and we did get a few points for completing it, which allowed us to get more set up, but other than that, we were just glad to get back to the main map. However, the fun didn't stop with the boss fight, as we still had to fill up that generator. So we got back to filling up the generator, and after some time, we finished this miserable step and we're on to our next challenge. And now, for an actual fun step of this Easter egg, the grenade challenge. As the name suggests, you can only use grenades for this round, so the game gives you unlimited contact grenades, which might add do no splash damage. So we just spent the entire round jumping around, throwing these grenades, and it was actually a lot of fun. We also took this opportunity to get some of our perks, as we couldn't upgrade our weapons or hit the box. Unfortunately, the round ended, and so did our fun, as this marked the end of the challenge. Now, the next step I'm going to talk about is hit and miss for me, this being the parkour challenge. Now, the thing with this step is that some of the jumps are actually really fun. However, it's just 2 jumps in particular that leave a sour taste when I think about this step. We started this challenge in the spawn room, as there's now platforms that we need to parkour over. And now it's all fun until you reach the 3rd jump. This jump was the bane of our existence the first few times we tried this Easter egg, as you need to understand how to do the furthest jump possible. Now, this can actually take a few attempts the first time around, but me and Tyler knew exactly how to do the long jump at this point, so it wasn't that bad. Still, however, thinking about how long this took us the first time around just fills me with sadness, and this jump appears twice as it's used again later on in this step. So you might be wondering, how do you do the long jump? Basically, the way you do it is by sliding, then jumping off the platform, then mid-fall doing an exo boost, and then doing a dash. And this needs to be done nearly perfect for this to work. But again, as I said earlier on, some of these jumps could actually be really fun. And now just before we could finally do something fun on this map, Oz wanted another word with Team Detective. This was the boss fight. The way this fight works is that around the arena there are 4 generators that we need to turn on. Once these are all turned on, it allows us to use the decontamination pad in the middle of the room. And then once Oz comes into the map, we need to lead him to the decontamination pad and activate it while he's on there. This disables his shield, allowing us to lay into him with our weapons. Now, we had some good guns for this boss fight, so we were actually doing a lot of damage to him, especially Tyler with his cell-free cauterizer, and after doing this multiple times, we had him down by the 3 hour and 16 minute mark.
Oh, get his ass out of here. Get your fucking pussy lips ass out of here. Come on now.
And that's all there is to say about the boss fight. It really wasn't that exciting. It was just there to kind of be there, and I really feel like this is something that should have been at the end of the Easter egg. But either way, returning back to the map, we were right where we left off, and we finished up the parkour step as well by the 3 hour and 22 minute mark.
Call me the schmooth, my god, bro. We're just on it.
After the parkour step, we noticed that there was actually 2 Goliaths on the map. So the first thing we did was get into the Goliaths, as this would prove to be very useful for the next challenge. This challenge being the move challenge. Essentially, the way this challenge works is that whenever you move, you lose points, and if you run out of points, you can no longer move. This is why we got the Goliaths, as it meant we could have extra armor, allowing us to just stand around while not taking any damage. This made the step super easy, and we got it done pretty quick. With only around 35 minutes left, we started to get a bit worried, but we remembered the Team Detective motto of "we always pull through," so we powered on. The next step was the Simon Says step, and this is exactly as it sounds. You just go to the computers just below spawn and play Simon Says. So I left Tyler to do this while I held the last zombie, and we got it done first try.
in there like
Oh,
somewhere.
literally, let's go, dude.
30 minutes left and I was sweating, but again I had to remain confident. Next up was the Friendly Fire Challenge, and now as the name suggests, Friendly Fire is on. And now you might think, why is this even a challenge? Well, you see, if you do take out the other person, you get an upgrade to your weapon. Oz was up to his no good tricks and wasn't even going for our characters anymore. He was going for our friendships. However, Oz clearly didn't realize that we are Team Detective. Our bonds can't be broken with a simple bribe.
Alright, now come here so I can kill you.
Oh, come on now. I just got Mark 11, please.
Okay, it might be working. We held strong, however, and we got through this challenge simple enough. Now, the next step is a little bit complicated to explain, so bear with me. In the secret room that we opened up in the beginning of the Easter egg, there will now be two sets of numbers, and these numbers correlate with different actions in the game. The first number correlates with the amount of zombies that you've used Exo Slam on. Okay, that doesn't sound right, hold up. The second number is linked to the amount of jumps that you've done. The third number is linked to grenades bought, and the fourth and final number is linked to zombies killed. We needed to match the numbers on the bottom to the numbers on the top. And now surprisingly, this isn't as bad as it sounds. Once the slams and grenades bought are set correctly, kills and jumps can just be quickly corrected at the end of the round. And that is exactly what we did.
Oh, we did it, we did it, we did it, we did it, we did it.
20 minutes left and we only had 2 more steps to go. The next challenge we had to complete was the rocket launcher challenge, and this is the exact same as the grenade challenge except with a Mark 25 Mayhem. This was another really fun challenge. I mean, come on, you're literally using an unlimited ammo rocket launcher. However, you do have to be more careful on this challenge than the grenade challenge, as you do in fact take splash damage. However, as long as you stay in the open, which in our case was jumping around the spa room, this challenge was no problem. And now this was it, the final step, not just for this map but this entire game. Once we finished this step, I could just uninstall this from my computer. So after we prepared ourselves, we went up to the secret room to take the teleport, and after a near death, we entered Oz's memory.
If this is Oz's memories, his only memory is of an outbreak. Bro is not living the best life.
Yeah, I'll be honest, this step is just so lame. You basically just need to survive until the Easter egg is over. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we did. Now the game is kind enough to spawn in 2 other teammates, so let's see what firepower they gave them.
Dude, Oz has got an Atlas 45, bro. He is going in.
Oh, he's going in. What a guy.
Truly, up there is one of the most powerful beings alive, just next to Hendrix. This step also gives you no max ammo, so at one point I was just completely out of ammo and couldn't kill anything, so to finish this up, it was all up to Tyler and our bot teammates. And then 13 minutes before the end of the timer, we got one more banger line from Oz, and that marked the end of the Easter egg.
Oh man, tell me more.
Fucking hate him.
And now, although the Easter egg was complete, you might be wondering what's going on here. This is called Double Feature, and it's to get the second Descent trophy. Essentially, all this is that you have to beat the same Easter egg again, except it's a little bit harder. So in our eyes, we didn't count this, and we only counted the first time around doing it. So other than that, with the timer ending at 3 hours and 47 minutes, we could finally put an end to this entire challenge. So what can we take away from this video? Well, it's safe to say that the people saying Advanced Warfare Zombies isn't a bad game, they're not wrong. So far, this has without a doubt been one of the worst zombie experiences I've played in a while. Which sucks because I swear I have better memories of playing this mode when it came out than I do now. The EMZs, the tedious Easter egg steps, and the constant annoyances is what ruins this game for me, so I personally couldn't be more glad to get it over and done with. However, for the sake of content and you guys, we got it done. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I actually have a little secret for you. I have talked about this with the boys, and it's still up for debate on if we'll do it or not, but we've ran 2 of the 4 non-Treyarch games, leaving Ghosts and World War II Zombies. I was thinking that after we've ran all the 4 non-Treyarch games, we could do a video, can you beat every non-Treyarch Easter egg in 24 hours? Now, this is entirely dependent on if you guys want it or not. It won't be coming for a while as we still have multiple videos left to go, but this is definitely something that I want to do. So if you guys do want that at some point, then let me know. But yeah, this is the end of the video. 1,000 likes and we'll run all of the Black Ops 4 Easter eggs next, and make sure to subscribe and join the Discord. Thank you for all the support on the channel recently. By the time this video goes up, this channel will be at 10,000 subscribers, so thank you all so much. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys all in the next video.